Greetings, everybody. I'm Ken Sumka. This is 414 Live. Thanks for coming out. And for those of you listening on the radio, welcome to our 414 Live session with Caley Conway. You're listening to Caley Conway on 414 Live on 88.9 Radio Milwaukee. Caley Conway on 414 Live here on 88.9. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me back.
First time headlining, as we say.
Yeah, it is.
So we had you with Diamato. Who else?
Diamato, we did a 414 Live here, I remember, and the first time I ever met you was the FemFest last year.
That's right.
We did a special 414 Live feature, which was really cool to be a part of. I came on and sang the Cheese song by myself.
That's right.
I was really nervous. And then the Diamato group played the 88.9 Awards last year.
Oh yeah.
Which was just like the time of my life.
That was they're always fun.
Yeah.
That was a fun one.
Yeah. Too much fun.
So I bumped into you at Company Brewing on Monday. We were both seeing Abby Jean, which I think now means we're both going to be at Company Brewing for the next 2 Mondays.
That's what I'm really hoping.
Yeah.
Did you see the very first one? Because that was the second
I
one.
didn't, no.
Neither did I.
Yeah.
But I was amazed. The place was packed.
Yeah.
And it was like such a first-class show.
Well, and what's cool too is that you see people like you were at the show, Kellen was at the show, obviously he opened the show, but there were a lot of Milwaukee artists at the show supporting another fellow Milwaukee artist, which I think is something that's pretty special about this scene.
Yeah, and I think that's not anything unique to the Abby Jean installments. You know, as a musician, like I generally, when I go out, I see the audience comprised of mostly other musicians.
That was going to ask you, when you have your own personal shows, do you see that as well then?
Yeah, I think so. Every once in a while, if my show is early enough, I can get a nice, strong, like my parents' friends and my aunts and uncles kind of thing.
Because you can't hit them up every single time, but if you can kind of, you know.
You can't hit anyone up every time. I'm
right.
learning. I usually do, but I'm learning to be more strategic about that. But, you know, I am hopeful, and the thing that I think about Abby's Fire in February kind of has the potential to do is really like bridge the gap between just solely listeners and concert goers and other bands and people who are like scene people and have really something invested already in the music scene. So I'm hoping to see more stuff like that where the community, like people who otherwise wouldn't be connected to the local music scene are really getting out. And because without them, they're the people that are gonna like kind of vouch for us in a way. If we're all just saying, we're good, Milwaukee's a good music scene, but we're all performing within it, I think it's hard for the rest of the world to take that seriously. But if its broader community is really coming out,
everyone's
cool.
vested, you know?
You think everyone is vested?
Well, I think when you see fellow Milwaukee musicians like yourself in an Abby Jean show and vice versa, I think it's like a stamp of approval. Like if you're going to show up for her show on a Monday night, you know.
You better be there, Abby, on the 23rd.
And that's just it. Like, plus, at least as far as her residency goes, and you guys have a gig coming up at Anodyne, the first couple months of the year are really slow for clubs. So I think it was a great idea to have this residency, you know.
True. I hadn't really thought about that.
Well, Buddy Guy used to say, what's my worst month at my club? And it was January. So what did he do? He booked himself for pretty much every day in January. So that's going to guarantee that folks come to your shows. But yeah, it's this time of year a lot of folks don't come out. So it's good that you guys are playing at Anodyne and Abby's got this residency.
And people are getting excited, I think. I mean, the energy at that show was just so positive and like I was so excited. I think everyone was so excited.
Well, that's going to carry over onto the Anodyne show on the 23rd.
Yeah, that's what and as we get closer to it, I've just become increasingly more excited. You know, opportunities sprouting up like this, being able to come on here and perform, just feeling so supported by, you know, not only 88.9, but the other people that are interested in doing pieces about the show. It just, I couldn't be more pleased and excited. And Anodyne's a beautiful space. So.
It is. So you and I have talked guitars quite a bit off stage, and I want to know who first inspired you to pick up a guitar?
Well, both my parents play, but they would not tell you that unless you really grilled them. But all of my aunts and uncles also play, and so I think as soon as like a couple of cousins and myself and I could get our fingers wrapped around a guitar, it was just kind of natural. My dad plays lefty, so my mom had a nylon string that she's had since she was 12 and is still at my parents' house. And I love playing the guitar when I come home because it's really what I learned on. So I would have to say, because I started playing when I was about 12 or 13, that my family was the most concrete inspiration for guitar playing, because I didn't really have like older friends who were teenagers or in college, or certainly not in the local scene at that time.
Right. And so what, other than your folks kind of getting you into it, who did you then learn from, like, who'd you start listening to kind of?
Probably Led Zeppelin
Okay.
was the first.
That's a great start.
Yeah, I remember, because I was learning like chords and stuff, and I took a class in middle school called Music and Media, and I really thrived like during the guitar section, but we were just learning chords. And my dad bought me an electric, a Washburn, and I always wanted to be like a rocker when I was younger. Like I remember being 8, and I really, really wanted like a leather jacket and an electric guitar. So I finally got my Washburn, and then I heard Led Zeppelin like for the first time in like 8th grade or something, or 9th grade, and it kind of clicked that like, oh, I have this tool that I could like learn these
Sure.
riffs on. So I kind of would look at tabs mostly online, and a couple of my best girlfriends and I kind of were gonna have a band, kind of. And then I remember one of my old friends was also playing electric guitar, so we kind of had this like rivalry going where I would find out about a really cool song. It would probably be like Black Dog by Led Zeppelin, and like learn the riff, and then she would learn it, and I'd be like, that was my thing. So, you know, a little bit of like healthy competition kind of fueled it as well.
Absolutely.
But then I did have a guitar teacher once. I saw her for like 2 sessions back in Tosa, where I grew up, and I remember calling her, and she was like, well, I'm not sure how much I'll be able to teach you. I'm not that advanced. Like, you don't want to play lead, right? And I was like super embarrassed that I actually had wanted to play lead, so I kind of choked in that moment and was like, no. And then I went out and bought an acoustic guitar and kind of started playing acoustically ever since.
Well, it's a good way to learn too. You know, now you've got
Very
the full
good.
breadth of guitar experience.
Yeah, and especially being an acoustic instrumentalist, most of my career has like really allowed me to focus on like vocals and lyrics and just song composition, because that's, I think, really my first instrument at this point is still my vocals. So for the longest time, the guitar was just a good excuse for me to like sing without seeming like, I don't know, a person that like goes around singing, which now I am.
So you mentioned Tosa. There's a pretty neat little pocket of Tosa. D'Amato, you went to high school with him.
Mm-hmm.
Grace Weber, not far away from where you grew up as well.
Mm-hmm.
What is it about Tosa, do you think, that was so musically nurturing?
Yeah, I mean, I can only speculate, but I can say that the public school system in Tosa, I mean, especially Tosa East, because that's where I went, the theater department there was so strong. I remember seeing shows when I was as young as 7, because my older sister was like one of the little kids in Oliver. But we would go every year to those shows, and they were always super amazing. I was in marching band for a year, and that was very like militant.
What'd you
And
play?
Sax, alto sax with D'Amato. We marched together once,
Nice.
and we both dropped out because it was too like rigid and cold and just silly outfits. But
You get to wear the hats, though, you know.
you get to wear the hats.
Or I guess in your
Sorry.
case, you have to wear the hats.
We have to wear the hats, and they have tight chin straps, and I have a really particular phobia about like things touching my neck.
Who
But-
doesn't, really?
Yeah, well, there's like, I don't know, chokers, turtlenecks.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weird stuff people put around their necks. I don't know. But yes, it was militant, which I think probably was one of the biggest reasons why it was so successful. The athletics department was also very good, and the marching band was like tightly in tandem with athletics. I played saxophone with Nelson Devereaux too, who's another. Are you aware of him?
I've heard of
He came out of Tosa.
Yeah.
I don't know if he still is, but he had been playing in Bon Iver's band for the past, I don't know. I don't want to misquote what it is.
A period of time, we'll
yes,
say.
for a period of time. So yeah, I'm really blessed to have been brought up amongst such talented classmates.
And you're also blessed to be joined on stage by.
Yes.
Let's meet.
So Nick Lang is playing drums. I
We
met.
can clap for Nick.
Yeah. Okay. That'd be great. Hopefully, a lot of you listening know Nick. I met him actually at Anodyne a few years back when I was playing a solo show, opening for one of his bands, and it's kind of funny because I've now recorded 2 separate albums that did not, like Nick didn't write or record the parts, but he has performed both of them out with me. So it's really, really cool to have that relationship with him, and he's a beast on the drums. And this is John Larkin, my partner, and my bassist.
Nice feature on you two in as part of the Milwaukee couples in Milwaukee music in the Milwaukee record yesterday. So.
Yeah.
Was that fun?
Being with
Yeah.
him? Or
Be-
being
well, yeah. I mean, I think that goes without saying. But was it fun being a part of the Milwaukee record piece?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was super quick, and every time I ask Tyler to do a piece, I feel like I type so much information for him so that he'll have whatever he needs in terms of quotes, and he made it a point to be like, "Oh, Caley, there's no need to get super in depth with the details." So it was nice just to be like, he made it easy. He just asked, "What are the best things about it? How long have you been dating?" Things that are very easy to answer, because So all 3 have been fun, like being
Sure.
with John, being in a band with John, or 3 bands that we're in together, and participating in the Milwaukee Record article.
All aces all around.
Yeah, and I felt like I didn't have to make a romantic post about Valentine's Day either.
You got
'cause
out of
seems
that,
to be a thing. Yeah. So thank you, Milwaukee Record.
Well, let's get one more song from Caley Conway on 4 and 4 Live.
Thank you.
As long as it's a secret, as long as it's a secret, and as long as I
Thank you.
Wasn't sure. The song is in fact over. Caley Conway on 4 and 4. We alluded to this, but I don't think we officially mentioned the time and date that you're playing Anodyne.
Yes, it's going to be at Anodyne Coffee Roasting in Walker's Point a week from tomorrow, so that's Friday the 23rd at 8 p.m.
And the songs that we heard tonight are new, and they're going to be on a forthcoming record that will be out at some point, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much all finished tracking. I might be obsessing about arrangements for hopefully not too much longer, and then mixing, and then, yeah, just getting kind of my thoughts wrapped around what it's going to be called and, you know, how it'll be presented aesthetically, artistically, what the whole promotional thing's going to be, like with a tour and that stuff.
That's the fun stuff, though.
Yeah. It's kind of fun. I'm learning how to do it slowly and painstakingly, which I'm very proud of.
Sure.
You know, if we had talked a year ago, which I think we did, I wouldn't have thought myself capable of a lot of the things that I now can do.
And these days you can do it, you know? I mean, there's YouTube videos and tutorials everywhere to teach you how to do things that used to be, you know, you'd have to get special people to do.
Yes. Special people, if you're special, watch out. You are no longer wanted, needed, any of that.
Well, thank you for being here.
Thank
all
you
of
for
you.
having us.
And again, Anodyne on the 23rd.
Yes, with Diamato opening the show, his acoustic R&B version, with Robert Weiss on the guitar, and then Marielle Alschwang will play second, and we will play last.
And where can we find you digitally?
CaleyConway.com. It's all C's. And that will lead you to the Facebook page. You know, you can find the Bandcamp, peruse the discography, videos, Instagram.
All that fun stuff.
I would just, CaleyConway.com.
All right.
It's easy to remember.
Right on. Thanks again.
Thank you
4 and
very
4
much.
Live is presented by the Milwaukee Bucks with support from Hi-Hat Lounge in the Garage and the Prairie School. We also want to thank our live engineer, Lodi, who always does a great job. And all of you who support us, without whom this would not be possible. For 414 Live, I'm Ken Sumka. I'm going to send it back to the studio on 88.9 Radio Milwaukee.